pure-blooded humans deserve to be called lords? They are nothing but low-level trash in this universe. This is what happens when the stellar game descends into reality. Those who awakened alien bloodlines and pride themselves on becoming tentacle monsters or rock creatures, they mock our own kind. They dismiss me, the one standing for human dignity. Fine, very well. They probably never dreamed that what I awakened wasn't just some planetary lordship, but the Fourth Calamity. The moment my ether phase engines ignite, whether it's mechanical legions or psionic disasters, they will all kneel and tremble. In this life, I will lead the 8 billion humans they call trash to slaughter our way through this galaxy. My god, it's a Tier B alien orc civilization, a 300% strength boost. Look at Wang Chong from the next class, he randomized into an A-tier slime race. Even though it looks a bit disgusting, it's a powerful race with limb regeneration and acid spray. He's set for success. Next, Beihai. Such a shame for such a handsome face. I hope he randomizes into an orc or elf race. If he turns into a roachman or fungusman, that would be too disillusioning. It's not just about the face. Beihai is a top student with perfect scores in theory. If he randomizes into a garbage race, the Dragon Kingdom is doomed again. Embracing alien genes? That is nothing but a pile of... It is filth that must be thoroughly purged. I only want humans. Whoa, is he crazy? He actually chose pure-blooded humans. No way, isn't that just seeking death or living like a caveman? It's over. Completely over. The Lord matched with the Dragon Kingdom this time is an idiot with a death wish. Get down here. Don't waste national resources. Curse, curse, curse all you want. You will soon learn what true terror is. Ding. Extreme xenophobia and racial purity obsession detected. Highest compatibility criteria met. Fourth Calamity System loaded successfully. Here it comes. Get off the stage, you waste. Since you've chosen to embrace aliens, don't blame me for showing no mercy to my own kind. Next. Chu Xingyue. It's the school goddess Chu Xingyue, our school's last hope. I heard she has rare psionic potential. If she can randomize into a psionic void body or a Highland demon, then she'll be invincible, although that would turn her into an indescribable blob. But that is the symbol of the strong. Gold, S-tier. It's S-tier civilization potential. Student Chu Xingyue, hurry. Hurry and choose your racial affinity. Don't accidentally select humans. You must pick random. I'm not dead. I've been reborn. That terrifying empire known as the Human Federation. The tyrant who led 8 billion humans to the pinnacle and trampled all 10,000 races underfoot. So the rumors were true. That tyrant who slaughtered his way through the galaxy was really my high school classmate. This time, do I still want to be some noble psionic being? I want to cling to his thigh. I want to hold onto the strongest thigh in the universe, before he becomes the one that makes all races tremble, the cold-blooded tyrant, before he becomes anything more than an F-tier loser mocked by everyone. No, no. That is an S-tier civilization. Choosing the human race, isn't that just self-sabotage? The right choice with less than 5 minutes left. How could it be just this once? If I don't cling to him now, it'll be too late. What if he's wiped out as an enemy after awakening? Wouldn't that be a total disaster? I must make a deep impression on him now. Beihai, stop. No. My goddess. Giving up an S-tier godlike alien start for an F-tier loser? Chu Xingyue, are you out of your mind? Beihai, I'm going to kill you. The hatred of stealing a wife is unforgivable. Absurd. Has the country nurtured you all these years just for you to go chasing romance? That is an S-tier national destiny. How could you choose the weakest humans? Interesting. Since you chose this path, don't die too quickly. In this universe, only humans are worthy of living. Remember your choice today. What kind of choice is this? This is the most correct decision you have ever made in your life, Beihai. No matter where you are, I will take a starship to find you the moment I can. Wait for me, you must wait for me. Welcome to the United Nations of Earth. In this utopia of inclusion, equality, and brotherhood, we share prosperity. With all life in the galaxy, as expected, xenophilia. System, select crisis, starship path. Starry Sky Retribution has been activated. Starry Sky Retribution path. You will be at war with the entire galaxy. Every great work requires sacrifice to be forged. We are not destroying the universe. We are repairing it. Exchange, superhuman serum, resurrection aura, kinetic pulse gun, crisis declaration. With these, the cleansing of aliens is within reach. Relay my orders. convene a global emergency meeting of all humanity immediately, and broadcast it live worldwide. Understood, Commander. Commander, if you have something to say, make it quick. I've just hybridized a new species, and my schedule is very tight. Commander, you were just elected as the new leader of the UNE. Since we are now broadcasting to the world, I happen to have a proposal. To support the call for hybridization, shouldn't you lead by example? And choose a mate from among the new humans? Shut up. I haven't declared the meeting open yet. Did I give you permission to speak? Commander, are you speaking to me? Hilarious. Does this Beihai really think he's someone important? Trying to act all cool, ridiculous. He won't even know how he died later. Laughable. This is absurd. He doesn't think just because he looks decent and caught choosing you as that he's actually a big shot, does he? Before we officially begin this human assembly, we must clarify one thing. What is a human? Commander, are you joking? We are all human. Isn't that obvious? No. You are not human. You are merely a xenomorph, ugly to the core and repulsive beyond measure. Commander, your remarks violate Article 1 of the United Nations of Earth Constitution. According to the Constitution, anyone who identifies with Earth civilization's values and acknowledges themselves as human, regardless of their genetic makeup, enjoys equal citizenship rights. Commander, your position was democratically elected, and it can be removed through democratic processes. I propose we initiate impeachment procedures immediately. Are you finished? Constitution, equality, coexistence, how nice. Let me tell you, our ancestors spent millions of years, suffered countless deaths, and endured endless hardship to evolve into the humans we are today. And you, a bunch of bugs crossbred by traitors, actually think you are our equals? Do you deserve it? I know that in corners of the earth, some have never accepted these ugly aliens. You are forced into silence, forced to bow your heads, forced to watch your civilization being devoured piece by piece. You are labeled as extremists, branded as backward, and taught to be inclusive, to be understanding, and to keep pace with the times. But today I say, admit it, you cannot stand those grotesque extraterrestrials at all. They are different from us. You cannot endure living your lives surrounded by creatures that are no different from monsters. Our emotions cannot bridge the gap. Our logic is fundamentally incompatible. Coexistence is absolutely impossible. Now is the time. Let us redefine what it means to be human. I thought the new leader had some profound insights, but it turns out he's just a genetic purist. In the 20 years I've been in power, I have handled more than 100 extremists like you. Their ends were not pretty. Handling extremists? What a coincidence. My specialty is purging heretics. Guards, quick, get in here. Open fire. Humans of Earth. Do you see now? These mongrels feel fear and they can die. From this moment on, the United Nations of Earth is officially renamed the Human Federation. I, Beihai, as the leader of the Human Federation, issue my first order, the extermination order. All xenomorphs are heretics, filth that must be purged. I order all pure-blooded humans. Take up every weapon at your disposal and kill every ugly alien you see. For humanity, for the Human Federation, for the Human Federation. This day, the pure-blooded humans of the United Nations of Earth, at last, recalled the glory of their ancestors. Genes are boiling, bloodlines are calling out. In a factory within the East Asian Union District. Brothers, have you heard the leader's words? An old engineer who had been forced to work under alien supervisors for 15 years, grabbed a wrench nearby, and smashed it hard against the compound-eyed insectoid supervisor. I've endured you bastards for long enough. Blood splattered, and compound eyes shattered. Immediately after, all the pure-blooded human workers in the workshop rose up in rebellion. Using wrenches, steel pipes, and anything they could get their hands on, they lunged at the alien supervisors. In a military camp in the North American Union District, marginalized pure-blooded human soldiers, for the first time, turned their weapons, aimed at their alien superiors. Bang! 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 A burst of gunfire erupted. Those hybrids who usually threw their weight around fell screaming in a hail of bullets. Kill these animals. The leader is right, they aren't human at all. For the Human Federation, the entire Earth is burning. In the live streams across Blue Star nations, I have to admit, Beihai's oratory skills are impressive, but that's all they are. Who can't incite a riot? The result is what matters. He is just sending countless pure-blooded humans to their deaths. The combat power of those hybrids is several times that of pure-blooded humans. Isn't this just bleeding for nothing? Typical armchair strategy. All talk and no substance. Also, notice that he is still in the conference room. The alien armies outside are already gathering. His beheading is only a matter of time. Hilarious. He made a scene, and now he's just waiting to die. I can already foresee his end, surrounded by alien troops and torn to pieces. At that time, the pure-blooded humans he incited will also become sacrificial offerings. This is the caliber of the Dragon Nation's contestant. Disappointing as always. However, the sentiment in the official Dragon Nation livestream took a startling turn. Well done, Beihai. I knew it, you aren't a coward. You said it. Someone finally said it. I've endured those aliens for so long. Do any of you have the guts? At least he dared to stand up. At least he dared to say what we dared not. Since when did the Dragon Nation become a country that only mocks its own people? Beihai. I support you. Even if you truly fail, I support you. Many who had mocked Beihai were now silent. Most of them actually hated the aliens, too, only to have their spirit worn down by reality. But now someone has stood up, shouted the slogans they were afraid to utter, and done what they were afraid to do. What right do they have left to mock? Inside the conference room. Kill him. Chief Science Officer were screamed in terror, commanding the remaining alien soldiers to pounce on Beihai. Though a science officer, his body, hybridized with gelatinous alien DNA, possessed strength over twice that of a pure-blooded human, not to mention the many other alien executives. In his eyes, Beihai only succeeded through a sneak attack. In a head-on confrontation, he was as good as dead. However, Beihai's movements were like a phantom, so fast that none of the aliens could react in time. Bang! 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 The finance minister's head exploded, and the education minister's compound eyes were pierced through. One after another, alien executives fell, every shot a precise headshot. We watched this scene in horror, the blue liquid beneath his translucent skin nearly freezing. No, impossible. You are just an ordinary human. How could you have this kind of speed? Beihai did not answer him. Bang! Weir's head, a size larger than a normal person's, exploded with a roar. Brain matter and blue liquid mixed together, splashing across the floor. Secretary of State Elena collapsed to the ground, trembling uncontrollably. He was a pure-blooded human, but he was a pro-alien collaborator. Lord Leader, I am human too. I am a pure-blooded human. Beihai looked down at him, his eyes ice-cold. If you had stood by my side earlier and fired at them, I can spare your life, but from the second you started speaking up for them, you ceased to be human. Bang! Elena's body slumped, crashing to the floor. The conference room doors were smashed open, and a group of heavily armed alien soldiers rushed in. Kill him, the lead alien officer roared, but they were greeted by the hypervelocity rounds of a kinetic pistol and the figure of Beihai. Weaving through the crowd, every time he pulled the trigger, another alien fell. His speed was too great, so fast that those aliens couldn't even aim. So fast that the aliens' bullets were always striking the spot where he had been a second before. In less than 30 seconds, all the aliens who broke into the conference room were killed. The floor was littered with corpses, blood pooling into a river, with Beihai standing in the center. Without a change in expression, the Blue Star livestream erupted. Wait, did I see that right? How is he that fast? Is that even human speed? And that gun, did you guys see it? Those aliens were headshot before they could even react. That gun doesn't look like anything simple either. It seems to have infinite ammo. So, did Chu Xingyue know he was something special all along? No wonder Chu Xingyue chose him. In a conference room in Dragon Nation, several officers and staff were watching the stream, their eyes fixed on the detailed dossier of Beihai. Did you verify it? An elderly chief asked. Verified. The head of intelligence shook his head. He's an orphan. Grew up in an orphanage, mediocre grades in school. Besides being handsome, he was practically useless. No special background. None. No unusual experiences. None. Where did his strength come from? Could it be innate? Another official frowned. The battle just now. You all saw it. His physical abilities are definitely not those of a normal human. And that gun, the intelligence head added, our experts have analyzed it. Its power and rate of fire are far beyond current technology, even more advanced than those of our active-duty weapons in Dragon Nation. How did he do it? Everyone fell silent. Beihai's rise was too sudden, too illogical, as if he had been hiding his strength from the start, or perhaps he had encountered some unique opportunity. In the Starry World, the war lasted for an entire year. Because time flows differently between Blue Star and the Starry World, one day on Blue Star equals 1 year in the Starry World. The viewers on Blue Star only spent 1 day watching this war that redefined Earth. It was a brutally devastating war. The aliens were indeed stronger in combat, but ultimately it was just brute force. Most of the aliens had underdeveloped brains. Against united pure-blooded humans, they were pushed back steadily. Beihai led the charge himself, taking elites to seize key military facilities, even resorting to nuclear strikes several times. He was like a banner, making every pure-blooded human willing to die for him. A year later, the war finally ended. Beihai stood in the capital square of the Human Federation to announce victory. The original 8 billion population had been reduced to 2 billion pure-blooded humans. 2 billion pure-blooded humans sacrificed, 4 billion aliens turned to ashes in this war. Blue Star International livestreams. He won. He actually won. 2 billion killing 4 billion. How is that possible? He's brave but brainless. Stupid behavior. 6 billion people, that's 6 billion units of productivity. He only has 2 billion people now. How can he compete with other civilizations? Population is productivity. Productivity is technology, and technology is combat power. This is a self-inflicted wound. And a slash to the main artery at that. I admit his speechcraft and combat skills are impressive. But his strategic vision, zero. Just wait and see how he develops. Can a population of 2 billion develop at even a quarter the speed of 8 billion? In the Dragon Nation stream, it was a different story. What do you people know? The 2 billion who survived. These are elites tempered by the fires of war. How could those half-breeds ever compare to them in combat prowess and cohesion? Besides, have you ever considered how severe the internal friction was when those heretics were still around? Now that everyone is a pure-blooded human, united as one, how many times has our efficiency increased? Concentrating our power to achieve great things. This is the traditional advantage of the Dragon Kingdom. A small population, we can just reproduce. Human fertility is not exactly lacking. The key is purity, the key is unity, and the key is the absence of internal friction. Conquering a nation is easy. Maintaining it is hard, that is common sense. Even just restoring production is an extremely difficult and long-term task. Furthermore, even among the 2 billion pure-blooded humans tempered by war, many problems still persist. Just as everyone was discussing what Beihai would do next, within the Human Federation, a small number of discordant voices emerged. Some surviving pure-blooded humans began to reflect on the war, arguing that Beihai's methods were too radical and too brutal. Even if heretics had to be purged, it should have been done gradually. Why was such an extreme approach necessary? 2 billion people died. 2 billion just because of his word. 2 billion people died for nothing. What makes this behavior any different from a war criminal? These voices began to spread, and the enlightened centrists jumped out, starting to analyze the irrationality of Beihai's actions. From a strategic perspective, it would have been entirely possible to use a gentler approach to gradually replace the rights of the heretics. Progressive reform was the righteous path. Radical revolution only brings disaster. Beihai is an excellent orator and warrior, but he is not a qualified statesman. He considered only the ideal, not the reality. He saw only the wishes of the pure-blooded humans, but could not see the price that needed to be paid to realize them. 2 billion compatriots just vanished like that, including our relatives, friends, and loved ones. The live streams of various nations on Blue Star also joined in the outcry. The atmosphere in the Dragon Kingdom's livestream was also somewhat subtle. Look, I told you he wouldn't accomplish anything great. How can there be development if the internal situation isn't stable? This is the end for radicals. You must always face the reckoning. Beihai is in trouble now. Conquering the world is easy, but guarding it is hard. How will he respond to these questions? These are, after all, pure-blooded humans, not those heretics. Facing the criticism, Beihai did something that shocked everyone. He launched an anonymous questionnaire for all citizens of the Human Federation, featuring only one question. Are we war criminals? There were only 2 options. Yes, no. Chapter 6, Humanity Supreme. Our journey is the Sea of Stars. Because it was anonymous, many people boldly expressed their opinions, and relying on the fact that they were pure-blooded humans, combined with their war contributions, they believed Beihai would not punish them. This war was indeed too radical. I lost my brothers, my father. If a gentler method had been used, perhaps they wouldn't have had to die. These voices spread rampantly in the anonymous survey, and the results were quickly tallied. Survey results: 0.01%, about 200,000 people, believed they were war criminals. 99.99%, about 1.998 billion, believed they were not. In the live streams of various nations on Blue Star, many were disappointed by these statistics. How is it only 200,000? I thought it would be at least several tens of millions. This survey isn't necessarily accurate. Many people might not dare to speak the truth. Exactly. Just because it's anonymous doesn't mean it really is. In fact, those who dare not speak the truth are the real cancer. And next, Beihai made a decision that stunned everyone. Lock the list. His voice was calm and cold. Arrest them all. Don't kill them. Keep them for forced labor. The order was issued, and the army, which had just emerged from the slaughter of war, possessed terrifying execution power. They never questioned their leader's orders. In less than 3 hours, all 200,000 were arrested. Some tried to resist and were shot on the spot. Some shouted, "Freedom of speech," and had their heads blown off. Some cried out, "We are pure-blooded humans," only to be answered by the cold muzzle of a gun. The entire process was clean and decisive, without the slightest hesitation. The live streams of nations on Blue Star instantly exploded. What the hell? Can he even do that? An anonymous survey? It was a sting operation. Gu Beihai is such a sinister villain. He is purging dissent, harming his own people, a dictator, a tyrant. Viewers from the Dragon Nation immediately retorted, "This is called having both courage and strategy. Didn't you claim earlier he had courage but no strategy? Don't you know that mercy doesn't lead an army? After sacrificing 2 billion people, if we let these bad apples spoil the whole bunch, wouldn't those sacrifices be in vain?" Hilarious. Didn't Gu Beihai give them a chance to speak? How is that not free? Freedom of speech does not mean he has to agree with what you say. So what if Gu Beihai arrests people he doesn't like? If you're so dissatisfied, why don't you go save them? If you're so capable, have your country send a fleet. Stellaris World, Human Federation Capital. After the arrests were completed, Gu Beihai once again started a global broadcast. Standing at the highest point of the capital square, with the flag of the Human Federation waving behind him, the results of the questionnaire are in. Gu Beihai's voice spread across the entire Earth via the broadcast. Only 200,000 people believe we are war criminals. Excellent. It seems our ranks are quite pure. He looked around, his gaze piercing. Whether now or in the future, you must remember one thing. We are the victors. Only the defeated are called war criminals. Those who think they are war criminals, I have already had them arrested and locked up to atone for their sins. This was their own demand. Criminals must face punishment. This is perfectly reasonable, isn't it? Since they insist they are war criminals, then let them atone as war criminals. I am fulfilling their wishes. Blue Star Nation broadcast rooms. So the victor isn't a war criminal? This Gu Beihai really has a list of twisted logic. However, many people began to waver. It is the truth, after all. Gu Beihai hasn't lost, so why call him a war criminal? This cracks me up. These people brought it upon themselves. As the saying goes, if you don't court death, you won't die. Since they confessed, we can't just let war criminals go free, can we? Do they mean to say they committed crimes, but don't even have the resolve to atone for them? Then stop standing on a moral high ground, accusing others of being war criminals. After finishing the topic of war criminals, Gu Beihai's expression turned serious. Next, I want to announce something even more important. He took a document from his coat and held it high. The new Human Federation Constitution, effective immediately. Article 1. Gu Beihai's voice thundered, echoing throughout the entire square. The Human Federation is supreme. Every law must uphold this bottom line. Any act against the interests of the Human Federation will be met with the harshest punishment. Any force attempting to split the Human Federation will be completely wiped out. The interests of the Human Federation are above all else. The glory of the Human Federation shall never fade. I hereby solemnly swear, in this life, I will spare no effort to defend the Human Federation and protect the continuation of the human spark. From this day on until death. As Gu Beihai's voice fell, the cheers of 2 billion humans roared like a tidal wave. From this day on until death. From this day on until death. The Human Federation is supreme. The Human Federation is supreme. Long live the great leader of the Human Federation, Gu Beihai. May Gu Beihai live forever. The sound pierced the clouds and rang across the entire Earth. Blue Star broadcast room. From this day on until death. Holy crap, that was so intense. I even stood up and swore along with him just now. I've learned a thing or two. Next time I get selected, I'm doing the same thing. Gu Beihai renamed Earth to Human Federation. Is he responding to Chu Xingyue's feelings? Damn, that was an unexpected display of affection. I watched Chu Xingyue's broadcast too. She really did dispatch all her research ships immediately to go find Gu Beihai. I have to say, despite his civilization level being too low, Gu Beihai is incredibly charismatic, and he's so handsome. Chu Xingyue is just an 18-year-old girl, so it's understandable she'd be impulsive for love. What a mutual pursuit. I'm jealous. I'm completely jealous. Stellaris World. At the Human Federation Capital Square, Gu Beihai watched the seething, passionate crowd, his voice growing even more resonant. Comrades, after experiencing this long war, After countless sacrifices, the Human Federation has achieved a milestone victory. But this is not the end. It is a brand new beginning. He paused. His gaze swept across everyone's face. I know you are all worried about one thing. This planet has been baptized by war and left in ruins. Restoring production, requiring a long passage of time, and rebuilding our home will demand countless sweat and toil. You are thinking that we are about to face many hardships ahead. Many in the crowd lowered their heads. This was indeed their greatest concern. We won the war, but the cost was too high. The entire planet's infrastructure has been almost completely destroyed. Factories, farmlands, cities, ruins are everywhere. With a population of 2 billion, rebuilding civilization on this rubble is easier said than done. However, Beihai's next words left everyone stunned. But what I want to tell you is, do not fix your eyes on the ruins before you. Beihai raised his hand and pointed to the sky. Please, look up. Look at the starry sky above us. Everyone looked up involuntarily. As night fell, stars twinkled, a sky they had never truly gazed at before. Beihai had specifically chosen this moment for his speech. Beyond Earth lies the vast galaxy. Beihai's voice was like a summons from the stars. Countless star systems, countless planets, countless resources. They may seem out of reach now, but I promise you. Beihai's voice rose sharply, like a thunderclap. 1 year, just 1 year. We will break out of our home planet. The live streams of various nations across the planet erupted instantly. 1 year, he said. 1 year? Is he crazy? A C-tier civilization, breaking out of its home planet in 1 year? A C-tier civilization doesn't even have deep space exploration capabilities. In 1 year, they couldn't even build a rocket. Just spouting nonsense to make promises, aren't they? Anyone can brag. I could say I'll unify the galaxy by tomorrow. Even the viewers from the Dragon Kingdom who supported Beihai were somewhat skeptical, because it was simply too absurd. Since the Stellaris game began, they had seen too many people like that. The Stellaris world, Beihai continued. Let the ruins on Earth recover slowly. We don't need to wait for reconstruction to finish before we develop, because he spread his arms as if to embrace the entire starfield. The entire galaxy is our resource pool. After 1 year, we will be mining the asteroid belts and establishing colonies on other planets. We will use interstellar trade to obtain everything we need. Earth is only the starting point, not the end. Beihai's voice rang out through the clouds. Citizens of the Human Federation. Our journey is the sea of stars. It is the boundless universe. It is every corner of the galaxy. One day, the flag of the Human Federation will be planted across the entire galaxy. Humanity supreme. Humanity supreme. Humanity supreme. The roar of 2 billion people gathered into a torrent, piercing the heavens. At that moment, everyone forgot the pain of the war and the desolation of the ruins. In their eyes, there was only the sea of stars. Chapter 7. The Fourth Calamity descends on the Stellaris stage. The pioneers are shocked by the blue star. After the speech ended, Beihai returned to his office. He opened the Fourth Calamity System. Current deterrence level, 5,600 points. In the process of completely purging the heretics, he had obtained a Calamity achievement. Purifier promoted to Level 2. The Calamity Mall upgraded to Level 2. Items in the Level 2 Calamity Mall are discounted by 50%. A flicker of surprise flashed in Beihai's eyes. 50% off. Doesn't that mean research ships, frigates, and construction ships only cost 500 points each? He placed the order without hesitation. Redeem research ship blueprint, 500 points. Redeem frigate blueprint, 500 points. Redeem construction ship blueprint, 500 points. Deterrence points consumed, 1,500. Remaining, 4,100 points. Information on the 3 blueprints instantly flooded his mind. Research ships are for exploring unknown systems. Scanning anomalies, the first step for a civilization stepping into space. Frigates are the most basic combat vessels. Though their firepower and defense are not top tier, they are cheap to produce and quick to build. Construction ships are for building mining stations. While its firepower and defense are not top tier, its strength lies in low production costs and rapid construction speed. The engineering ships are tasked with constructing mining stations. Essential vehicles for research ships. These are the standard Trinity for Stellaris players. If this weren't a Class C civilization, these would have been available from the start, like Chu Xingyue's S-rank start, which likely included a starbase. Everything would have been ready at launch. As for the genetic template, Beihai took a glance, finding no resonance for now. The Human Federation is currently in ruins. There is simply no capacity to initiate nationwide genetic modification. Such things require gradual promotion alongside genetic clinics. It is a long-term, systematic project. Buying it now would be a pure waste. He turned his attention to the items generated by the star refresh. The Level 2 Calamity Store is unlocked, with new items added. Blue laser emitter blueprint. 500 points. A ship-mounted weapon far more powerful than the red laser. To organic life forms, this wavelength of electromagnetic radiation appears blue or violet. A slight smirk tugged at the corner of Beihai's mouth. Blue lasers. Almost every Stellaris player starts with red lasers. Upgrading to blue lasers would be impossible in under a decade, because the early-stage research foundation is too weak and technological progress crawls like a snail. But he can skip the red laser stage entirely right now. Research speed plus 20%, non-repeatable 1,000 points. Ship construction speed plus 20%, non-repeatable 1,000 points. These two are must-haves. A 20% increase in research speed means the development cycle for all technologies will be shortened by 1/5. A 20% increase in ship construction speed means he can build more warships in the same amount of time. Time is everything. Destroyer blueprint costs 2,000 points. Beihai took a look and decisively skipped it. Early game Corvette swarms are the way to go. Using the same resources, the cost efficiency of building 10 Corvettes far outweighs that of a single destroyer. By the time he can build destroyers, he might as well wait for cruisers. Once mid to late game resources are available, it won't be too late to consider upgrading the fleet configuration. System. Exchange for blue laser emitter, research speed plus 20%, and ship construction speed plus 20%. Exchange successful. 2,500 deterrence points consumed, 1,600 remaining. Beihai nodded in satisfaction. Just then, he was pleasantly surprised to find that the Level 2 Calamity Store had unlocked a new feature. Resource exchange is now available. You can exchange deterrence points for the following: alloys, 1 point equals 100 units. Energy credits, 1 point equals 200 units. Minerals, 1 point equals 300 units. Food, 1 point equals 500 units. Note, the exchanged resources will be introduced into your civilization through reasonable means, such as technological breakthroughs, the discovery of mineral veins, or the emergence of new talent. Beihai's eyes lit up. This feature is absolutely god tier. The core of the Stellaris game is resources. Alloys, used to build ships and structures, are the lifeblood of military and development. Energy credits are the universal currency. Maintenance costs, trade, and policies all require them. Minerals are the most basic resource, which can be converted into alloys and consumer goods. Food determines population growth. Furthermore, the system states that these resources will appear through plausible means. Perhaps a survey team accidentally discovers a giant mineral vein, or an agricultural technology breakthrough doubles grain production. This way, even if the whole process is being live-streamed, it won't seem abrupt. Beihai pondered for a moment and made his decision. System. Exchange 1,000 points for alloys, 200 points for energy credits, 100 points for minerals, and 100 points for food. Exchange successful. Consumed 1,400 deterrence points, 200 remaining. Alloys increased by 100,000 units, energy credits by 40,000, minerals by 30,000, and food by 50,000. Resources are being injected into your civilization through reasonable means. Alloys are the absolute priority. Building ships requires massive amounts of alloy, and alloys need to be refined from minerals. The smelting technology of a Class C civilization is extremely backward, with pitiful efficiency, but by exchanging for alloys, the system also grants corresponding breakthroughs in smelting technology. This is what makes it truly valuable. With advanced smelting technology, the efficiency of subsequent alloy production will increase significantly at the cost of energy credits. Besides, the same logic applies to physical objects. By exchanging a symbolic amount, one can acquire basic technologies, and these are the foundation of civilization's development. This is both a loophole and a benefit of the system. Blue Star, Dragon Kingdom, late at night. Most viewers have already gone to rest. After all, they cannot stay up 24 hours. Staring at the livestream, the National Destiny game stream is not broadcast in real time throughout. Instead, it selects important moments to broadcast, leaving out the mundane daily chores. Daily chores are generally not broadcast and no one watches them anyway. Moreover, the streaming system automatically blocks content involving privacy and classified information. One day on Blue Star equals 1 year in the Star world. When the next morning arrived, holy crap! A netizen who stayed up all night watching the stream suddenly jumped off the bed. Look at Beihai's livestream. He built a research ship in just half a year. This news instantly ignited the entire internet. The Star World Human Federation. The shipyard at the starport, this shipyard rebuilt on the ruins, is currently witnessing history. Inside the massive dry dock, a streamlined spaceship hovers silently on an anti-gravity platform. This is the first research ship of the Human Federation. The Pioneer. From the completion of the blueprints to the rollout of the first finished vessel, took only 6 months. This speed is nothing short of a miracle. After all, under Gu Beihai's policy, the 2 billion population is now a nation in arms. Tens of thousands of Human Federation citizens gathered on the viewing platform outside the dock, eyes brimming with tears. Staring at the ship that carries humanity's hope, the dome of the shipyard slowly opened, revealing the deep starry sky outside. Today is the maiden voyage of the Pioneer, and it will take off from here, pass through the atmosphere, enter space, and begin exploration, executing scientific missions. However, just as everyone was cheering and celebrating, Gu Beihai made a decision that sent shivers down everyone's spines. I will board the ship myself, to conduct the maiden voyage. Once these words were spoken, the scene went silent. Leader, you cannot. The chief scientist was the first to stand up and object. This pure-blooded human scientist who survived the war is the head of the newly formed research team. Although the research ship has passed all ground tests, any accident could happen during actual flight. You are the leader of the Human Federation, the spiritual pillar for 2 billion people. You absolutely cannot take this risk. Let our astronauts execute the maiden voyage. Other officials echoed the sentiment. Leader, please reconsider. Your safety is tied to the future of the entire Human Federation. If something were to go wrong, Gu Beihai waved his hand, cutting off their protests. It is precisely because I am the leader that I must go myself. His gaze swept across everyone present. A year ago, I told you to pick up weapons and cleanse the heretics with me. You did it. Now, I have told you to believe that the Human Federation can break out of the home planet, so I must lead by example and be the first to step into space. If even I don't dare to board this ship, what right do I have to make you believe it is safe? What right do I have to make you believe that the future of the Human Federation lies in the sea of stars? These words left everyone speechless. Gu Beihai turned and strode toward the boarding tunnel. The hatch of the Pioneer slowly opened, welcoming its first passenger. The Blue Star livestream chat room had already been flooded by hundreds of millions of viewers. Holy crap, Gu Beihai is doing the maiden voyage himself? That's too badass. As expected of Gu Beihai, a real man, the Sakura Kingdom, the Bangzi Kingdom, the India Kingdom, and other chat rooms were also discussing crazily, just showing off again. It's a miracle if a ship like that can even fly. A Class C civilization, building a research ship in half a year. I don't believe it. It must be all for show, just a nice-looking shell. Full of problems inside. Just wait and see the joke when it tries to take off. It would definitely explode on the spot, even if it miraculously took flight once it reached space. All sorts of malfunctions would be enough to cripple it. Launching a maiden voyage without sufficient testing is simply gambling with lives. Gu Beihai is doomed this time. Stellar World, Newport Shipyard. Gu Beihai boarded the Pioneer. The hatch closed, and the engines began to preheat. He felt the slight tremor coursing through the ship. The Pioneer was ready for takeoff. Gu Beihai gave the order. His voice carried through the comms channel across the entire shipyard. The command center began the countdown. 10, 9, 8. The people outside the shipyard gripped their fists tightly, their heartbeats accelerating. 3, 2, 1, liftoff. The Pioneer's engines erupted with a blinding blue light. At this moment, the Fourth Calamity officially stepped onto the stage of the stars. Chapter 8. The Human Federation's Fury. There are still so many ugly aliens in the galaxy. The silhouette of the Pioneer turned into a streak of silver light, shooting straight into the clouds, then breaking through the atmosphere, and officially entering space. Gu Beihai stood before the viewport, gazing at the vast starry sky outside. The azure earth gradually shrank behind him, while ahead lay endless darkness and stars. In his previous life, he had only conquered the stars and galaxies from behind a computer screen. Now that he was experiencing it firsthand, he could not help but feel a surge of excitement. Leader, all systems are operating normally. The Pioneer's maiden voyage is a complete success. Through the communicator came the voice of the ground command center, nearly cracking with excitement. Excellent. I hereby declare once again that the Human Federation has officially stepped into the interstellar era, Gu Beihai announced to the world. The next second, the entire Earth erupted in a frenzy. The cheers seemed to reach the Pioneer. Long live the Federation. Long live the leader. The Dragon Kingdom's live stream went ballistic. Success. Gu Beihai did it. In just 6 months, Going from a C-tier civilization to possessing spacefaring capabilities, this speed is heaven-defying. Dragon Kingdom is awesome. Beihai is awesome. It's only been half a year. In half a year, C-tier contestants from other countries are still crawling on the ground. At this rate, Beihai might soon be able to rendezvous with Chu Xingyue of the S-tier civilization. Once the husband and wife combine their resources, damn, our Dragon Kingdom is truly going to rise. This round, the advantage is ours. Where are those people who were mocking Beihai just now? Does your face hurt? Meanwhile, the live streams of Sakura Country, Kimchi Country, and the Lighthouse Country fell into dead silence. This is impossible. It must be special effects. It must be fake. Cheating. He must have cheated. How can you cheat in the Stellar game? You tell me how to cheat? In the Stellar world, Beihai piloted the Pioneer to orbit the Earth once before landing smoothly at Newport. After all, he was the leader of the Federation. He couldn't waste time on scientific research missions. He just needed to set an example for his citizens. The moment the hatch opened, he was greeted by waves of thunderous cheers. Leader! Long live the leader! Long live the Federation! Beihai walked down the ramp, facing the cheering crowd, continuing to encourage his loyal citizens. This is just the beginning. His voice, carried through loudspeakers across the entire starport, reached the entire Earth via the broadcast. Next, we will build more research vessels to explore our star system. We will build frigates to defend our home. We will build engineering ships to mine interstellar resources. The journey of the Human Federation has only just begun. The people's cheers never ceased, and Beihai was pleasantly surprised to find that the system had updated the Calamity achievements. New achievement: first time piloting a ship to break out of the home planet, unlocked. Reward: 1,000 deterrence points. Remaining deterrence: 1,200 points. Only 1,000 points? Beihai frowned slightly. As expected, evolution is a faster way to make money. Strictly speaking, breaking out of the home planet doesn't count as a Calamity achievement. Giving 1,000 was likely a gesture towards realism, it seems. Saving the galaxy brooks no delay. Beihai set a new path. Over the next 6 months, the Human Federation's shipyards ran at full capacity. Research vessels, frigates, and engineering ships rolled off the line one after another. Thanks to the ship production speed, the plus 20% research rate, and the alloy and energy credit resource packs purchased by Beihai, the research team's efficiency soared, and various supporting technologies were conquered at an astonishing pace. Radar systems, communication systems, life support systems, weapon systems, every technological breakthrough left the audience on Blue Star stunned. This speed was simply insane. I'd only heard before that low-level civilizations could start by rolling geniuses through their population to make a comeback, but even rolling one is rare. This Beihai's people seem to have more than that. Other countries' contestants are still figuring out how to build rockets, while he has already begun mass-producing starships. The one-year deadline arrived. The Human Federation already possessed 3 research vessels, 10 frigates, and 3 engineering ships. The construction speed of this small fleet had already reached that of an A-rank civilization. An A-rank civilization is one that has left its home planet, but has yet to establish a stellar base. Under normal development, it would take at least 10 years to build such a fleet. Only Chu Xingyue with her S-rank civilization start and built-in stellar base could suppress Beihai, but unfortunately, no matter how many ships Chu Xingyue builds, they end up as dowries for Beihai, as if afraid others wouldn't notice these names. And the first research ship, the Pioneer, began its exploration mission the day after its maiden flight. It left the solar system, heading toward the nearest star system. Subspace navigation technology was not yet fully mature, but the Pioneer still traversed interstellar space at an astonishing speed. Now, half a year later, the Pioneer sent back news that made the entire Human Federation seethe with excitement. This star system had a terrestrial planet. Preliminary scans showed it possessed extremely rich mineral resources, with rare or reserves over 10 times that of Earth. The voice of the Pioneer's captain trembled with excitement. At Beihai's request, this mining planet was named Mining Planet 1. People felt puzzled, wondering if this name was a bit too ordinary. Beihai provided the explanation. In the future, we will have hundreds, thousands, or even more mining planets. If we use obscure names for all of them, it will only increase the workload for our scientists. Once these words were spoken, the Human Federation had no more doubts, instead becoming convinced by their leader's foresight and vision. Under the instructions of the chief scientist, the Pioneer's captain officially began surveying Mining Planet 1, and the news soon returned. We have discovered signs of intelligent life on this planet. On Blue Star and in the livestream, nations speculated, "Ha ha ha, it's that exciting blind box moment again. I wonder how Beihai's luck is." I remember the Lighthouse Nation had an A-rank genius contestant who also rolled a genius scientist at the start. Everyone thought he was going to take off, but his neighbor rolled a Big Daddy, some kind of determined exterminator, which launched an annihilation mode the moment it saw organic life or some fallen empire, terrifyingly strong. It's a pity they are all so mysterious. If those were rolled, it would be too easy on Beihai. It would be best if our Sakura Nation's A-rank contestant appeared, to show Beihai how foolish his choice to start with humans was. Stellar event. At the Human Federation capital, Beihai specifically ordered the video footage sent back by the Pioneer to be broadcast globally. The entire Federation was filled with curiosity and anticipation. The screen displayed the resource-rich terrestrial planet, and on the surface some architectural structures were vaguely visible. The buildings were short and twisted, completely failing to conform to human aesthetics. As the camera zoomed in, the true appearance of those intelligent beings gradually emerged. They were a group of extremely ugly rock creatures, possessing human-like frames, but covered from head to toe, composed of cracked rock. What? This galaxy actually still has so many ugly aliens. It is simply unbearable. Seeing this scene, the entire Human Federation was shaken. Chapter 9. The Stone People are hard to beat. Who said a mining planet requires an army? Blue Star livestream. In the frame, those ugly stone men haven't even built a warship yet, but their physical combat ability is simply heaven-defying. Not only are they unimaginably strong, but they possess rapid regeneration. Bullets from standard firearms hit them, and those cracks heal in seconds. Furthermore, the stone men feel no pain, no fatigue, and they only need to eat rocks to survive. They are truly born war machines. Beihai has hit a wall this time. South Korea livestream is in a state of jubilation. Aha, did you see that? Our great Korean Appa's stone men. The Dragon Kingdom's Human Federation wants the mining planet's resources? Not a chance. It is well known, how could they possibly defeat our strong stone men Appas? These are not like those hybridized bastards from before. Although Beihai has frigates, the stone men have rapid recovery. Naval cannons pose no threat at all. Moreover, the energy of the frigates is limited. They can't just keep firing cannons forever, right? I predict that Beihai will eventually have to retreat in the face of difficulties. Sigh, what a pity. Such a good mining planet wasted just like that. Their tone was full of schadenfreude. Even in the Dragon Kingdom livestream, many people were filled with worry. This is indeed a tough nut to crack. Sigh, bad luck. The first mining planet encountered such a difficult obstacle. The stone men's combat power is too strong. If we really fight a ground war, our soldiers will suffer heavy casualties. He has finally developed to this point, already having the chance to clash with the seed players. I am truly afraid he will be impulsive. Even if he can take it, the price paid will be too high. 2 billion people are already few. If we lose a large number of soldiers, stellar event, capital of the Human Federation. Beihai specifically broadcast this meeting to the whole world, aimed at constantly stirring up the emotions of the citizens. He stood in the center of the conference room, his gaze sweeping over all the cabinet members, then facing the live camera. Compatriots, you have all seen it. Beihai's voice was steady and powerful. The first mining planet we discovered is inhabited by ugly aliens. Although this makes us disappointed, but his tone rose sharply, do not lose heart. I firmly believe that in this vast galaxy, there is not only us as humans. In some corner of the galaxy, there must be other human civilizations. They might be waiting for us. One day we will meet and then unite, to strengthen our Human Federation and plant the banner of the Human Federation in every corner of the galaxy. Beihai's voice was like thunder, making every citizen of the Human Federation feel hot-blooded. But you have also seen that this galaxy is rotten to the core, filled with disgusting aliens everywhere. They are ugly, twisted, and repulsive. And our human compatriots are likely living in misery just like we once did, oppressed and enslaved by these aliens. They are waiting for us, waiting for the Human Federation to liberate them. So, in order to protect our compatriots, we must never let these aliens develop, never let them run wild in the galaxy, bullying our compatriots. For the Human Federation, for the protection of our human compatriots in the galaxy, we must purge all heresy. Compatriots, time waits for no one. Cleaning up heresy and defending the galaxy brooks no delay. We are the righteous guardians of the galaxy. Our mission is glorious, and our future is bright. I declare the purification plan for Mining Planet 1 is now officially executed. Beihai's voice like an oracle, spread throughout the Human Federation. This inspiring speech instantly ignited the entire Human Federation. The leader is right. We must protect our human compatriots in the galaxy, purge heresy, and defend the galaxy. I want to sign up for the war. Count me in. Men of the Human Federation never fear battle. Those who experienced the brutal war a year ago could not bear the existence of these aliens for even a moment. The pandemic back on Earth had already disgusted them to their core, and now, seeing the galaxy filled with so many hideous alien creatures, their fury is practically overflowing. In the Star Nation livestream, every time he speaks, it makes my blood boil. This is what you call the charisma of a leader. I want to travel across time and space to join the Human Federation. Even though I know he is inciting populism, I am still convinced. Defending the galaxy is a matter of urgency. This slogan is just so inspiring. However, the ROK is spouting cynical remarks. Silver-tongued and sophistical. All of this is just a pretext to wage war, isn't it? Galaxy Guardian? Even he probably doesn't believe what he's saying. In this galaxy, there are still many kind aliens, like the stone men favored by our big brother. On what grounds does Beihai claim? They are heretics. Start the war already. I want to see what their Human Federation ground forces have to fight our stone men. Just waiting to see Beihai get a slap in the face. Stellar event. After the speech, the broadcast did not cut off. Beihai's cabinet meetings are mostly public. This is a sign of his confidence, and it is also to ensure the public's trust in the regime. At this moment, the cabinet members are gathered together, starting to discuss specific operational plans. The new Grand Marshal is an experienced, middle-aged veteran. He performed brilliantly in the war a year ago, is incredibly loyal, and is deeply trusted by Beihai. Leader, according to the data transmitted back by the Pioneer, the number of stone men on mining planet 1 is approximately 51 billion. The Grand Marshal pulls up a holographic projection, displaying detailed information about the mining planet. Their technological level is lower than ours. They haven't even broken out of their home planet, but his expression turns grave. The stone men have extremely powerful physical attributes. What's even trickier is that they possess rapid regeneration. Injuries caused by ordinary firearms heal in a matter of seconds. If we engage in ground combat, our soldiers will face massive casualties, so I suggest. The Grand Marshal looks at Beihai. We need to develop specialized ground weapons specifically for these stone men. Although our Human Federation sons and daughters are brave and do not fear death, we must still minimize casualties to the greatest extent possible. Other cabinet members nod one after another. The Grand Marshal is right. We must develop specialized weapons. The stone men's regenerative ability is too monstrous. Conventional weapons just aren't enough. The estimated development time is 3 to 6 months. However, Beihai waves his hand, interrupting their discussion. Not minimized. His voice is stern and resolute. This time, my requirement is 0 casualties. Not a single person can die. Once these words are spoken, the entire conference room goes silent. The Grand Marshal is stunned, offering a bitter smile. Leader, I understand your care for the citizens, but 0 casualties is almost impossible. Although we have frigates, we still have to send in ground troops to fully capture this mining planet. As long as we send in ground troops, it is impossible for no one to die. Those stone men, while technologically backward, are too powerful in close-quarters combat. Our soldiers, other cabinet members also feel that this is not very realistic. Leader, we understand your intentions, but war is war. Bloodshed and sacrifice are inevitable. That's right, unless we don't send ground troops, otherwise 0 casualties is simply not achievable. But if we don't send ground troops, how can we occupy the mining planet? Everyone chimes in, all feeling that Beihai's requirement is overly idealistic. ROK livestream. The ROK is mocking him even more crazily. Haha, this is hilarious. 0 casualties? Is Beihai dreaming? The stone men's regenerative ability is no joke. Even if they are blown to pieces, as long as the core remains after a period of time, they can grow back. The Long Kingdom livestream also feels that Beihai's intentions are good, but 0 casualties is indeed a bit unrealistic. However, just when everyone is questioning him, Beihai speaks slowly. Who said I was going to send ground troops? Chapter 10, Orbital Bombardment. No, we call it Gao Shao, High Efficiency. The ROK defense breaks at Beihai's words. Everyone was stunned. The Grand Marshal asked in confusion, Leader, if we don't send ground troops, how are we supposed to take the mining planet? Obviously, we will use frigates, Beihai replied. Frigates. The Grand Marshal hesitated. But leader, although the firepower of frigates is powerful, it requires a massive amount of energy to completely wipe out 5 billion lithoids. The logistics line is too long. An energy supply is a major issue. Moreover, the lithoids have regenerative abilities, and ship-based bombardment is too inefficient. Blue Star, Korean live stream. Ha ha ha, I thought he had some brilliant insight, but this is it? Bombing with frigates? It makes me laugh to death. The lithoids have rapid regenerative capabilities. Even if they are blown into pieces, as long as the core remains after a few hours, they can heal again. The energy of a frigate is limited. Does he intend to keep bombing until the energy runs out? By then, Beihai won't even have enough energy to retreat. Our great Korean lithoids are invincible in ground combat. Stellar world, inside the meeting room. We don't need to blow up all 5 billion. Beihai shook his head, interrupting the Grand Marshal. We just need to bomb them until they lose the ability to resist. He brought up the holographic projection of Mining Planet 1. Pointing to the lithoid settlements of Shinrochibu on it, concentrate fire, bomb their military facilities, power infrastructure, scientific facilities, and residential areas. No need for precision strikes, no need to consider collateral damage. Conduct saturation bombardment directly from orbit, flatten every one of their structures, and destroy the foundation of their civilization. Once they lose their cities, lose their tools, and lose all civilized infrastructure, they are just a pile of active stones. They will never be able to organize effective resistance again. Remember what I said today. This is the first lesson I want to teach you. His gaze swept across all core members, his voice majestic and powerful. Before any operation, we must first learn to define. Let me ask you again. What are they? Beihai asked, pointing to those ugly lithoids in the holographic projection. Lithoids. The Grand Marshal replied with little confidence. No, you are wrong. Beihai shook his head, his tone resolute and decisive. They are no longer worthy of being called people. They are stones, they are minerals, they are rare ores with regenerative properties. They use raw or as food, and under the influence of their cores, they refine themselves into rare ores of extremely high purity that don't even require complex processing. For the sake of statistics, I call each of these stones a unit of ore. Therefore, there are 5 billion ready-made, rare or units on this planet that require no complex processing. Thus, their most accurate definition is small or refining tools. This is the main value of Mining Planet 1. Beihai's words shocked everyone. This perspective was one they had never thought of. So, let me ask you once more. When facing 5 billion units of rare ore, what is the point of sending ground troops? Isn't it absurd to risk casualties just to mine them? Beihai's rhetorical question made the Grand Marshal completely understand. The leader means, exactly. Beihai nodded. We don't need to extract 5 billion units of or all at once. We just send out frigates to bombard them whenever we need more, combined with construction ships to collect them. Keeping these rare ores alive means they can continue to refine rare ore for us, saving us the risks and investments of building factories there. We only need to build more specialized construction ships. This is the second lesson I am teaching you today. I call it efficiency. Beihai stated. The leader is brilliant. I was the one who was dull. The Grand Marshal and the rest of the core members felt enlightened. The citizens of the Dragon Country watching the live stream also praised the leader's wisdom. Blue Star live stream. The Dragon Country audience is absolutely boiling. This is so efficient. This strategy is simply flawless. Why didn't I think of that? Beihai's line of thinking is heaven-defying. Defining lithoids as ore refining equipment, yes. The value of Mining Planet 1 is the ore. To cause casualties while mining is truly putting the cart before the horse. Lesson learned, lesson learned. This is what you call a dimensional strike. He won the moment he defined the rules. These rockmen will likely spend the rest of their lives in despair. Resistance is futile. Because they can't hit the warships, they get happy only to have to eat rocks. And once they're full, they become refining equipment for Beihai. Eat until full, then off to be mined, damn it. This is a direct infinite loop. It's ruthless, but I love it. Now this is maximizing resource utilization. However, the atmosphere in the Korean livestream chat changed completely. They were gloating at first, but after hearing Beihai's plan, they were all dumbfounded. It actually seems feasible, and the efficiency is terrifying. Aish, how could he be like this? Rockmen are people too, they are sentient beings. Beihai is a complete war criminal, a war criminal with no humanity. He is just covering his evil deeds with a facade of justice. It's too cruel, too inhumane. We strongly condemn this behavior. However, Dragon Country viewers immediately jumped out to retort. First of all, Beihai hasn't been defeated, so he's not a war criminal. Secondly, these rocks aren't people, so there's no such thing as humanitarianism here. Beihai made it very clear. They are, or, rare ores with regenerative properties. Do you need to talk about humanitarianism when mining? Do you talk about humanitarianism when you go to dig coal? They've grasped the essence of Beihai. The Korean viewers were stomping their feet in anger. Our actual contestants will avenge Big Brother Degen. We'll show you what true power is. However, the Dragon Country viewers didn't care about these threats at all. A rank? Don't make me laugh. Beihai's development speed has already crushed ordinary A-rank players. Besides, Chu Xingyue is an S-rank civilization. She is currently leading her fleet to find Beihai, and once they rendezvous, your A-rank contestants won't be worth a damn. In the stellar world, operations against Mineral Star 1 unfolded rapidly. A fleet composed of 10 frigates, guided by the Pioneer, and these 3 engineering ships set out and arrived in the orbit of Mineral Star 1. 3 months later, the engineering ships brought back the first batch of rare ores with regenerative properties. These ores would undoubtedly become the new material for warship armor. Beihai watched the fully loaded engineering ships return, a flash of satisfaction in his eyes. At the same time, the system notification rang. Ding! Disaster achievement, first conquest/enslavement, completed, targeting an alien civilization, rewarded with 10,000 points of deterrence. Current deterrence stands at 11,200 points, disaster level increased to level 3. Disaster shop upgraded to level 3. Items in the level 1 and level 2 shops are all discounted to 50% off. Level 1, level 2, and level 3 shops now feature a random refresh function. Conquest is indeed more efficient. Beihai sighed with emotion. The level 1 shop is now at half price from its original base. It's practically a clearance sale. A racial gene template that previously cost 1,000 points now only costs 250 points, and one can spend deterrence points to randomly refresh items of the same tier. The level 1 shop only costs 100 points per refresh, and the level 2 and level 3 shops follow the same pattern. But he wasn't in a hurry to refresh the lower level shops. Instead, he opened the level 3 disaster shop. Level 3 disaster shop unlocked. New items are as follows. Starbase design blueprint, 5,000 points. A large space station built within a star system which can serve as a fleet supply point, shipyard, and research center. It is an important symbol of a civilization moving into interstellar space. Beihai's eyes lit up the moment he saw this blueprint. A starbase, this is something an S-rank civilization starts with. With a starbase, the development speed of the Human Federation will grow exponentially. Not only can he establish a supply point near Mineral Star 1, it also significantly boosts shipbuilding efficiency, and more importantly, with a starbase, the Human Federation can establish strongholds across multiple star systems in the galaxy. This is what a true interstellar empire is. System. Exchange for the starbase blueprint. Ding. Exchange successful. Consumed 5,000 deterrence points, remaining 6,200 points. The starbase blueprint has been issued. It is time for the Human Federation to enter Chapter 11, Pure Genetic Ascension. We will define success with our own hands. After purchasing the starbase blueprint, Beihai continued browsing. Tier 3 Calamity Store. Tier 3 Calamity Store. Disintegrator technology. 1,000 points. Fires high-energy beams that can simultaneously weaken and destroy the molecular bonds making up the target's atomic structure, piercing shields and armor to directly cause devastating damage to enemy hulls and crews. Ion cannon turret blueprint, 1,000 points. A large-scale weapon system for starbase defense. Cruiser blueprint, 5,000 points. Large antimatter missiles, 1,000 points. Destroyer torpedoes, 1,000 points. Large energy deflector shield, 1,000 points. Large graphite steel armor, 1,000 points. Ion thrusters, 1,000 points. Advanced combat computer technology, 1,000 points. Research speed plus 30%, 1,000 points. Beihai's gaze lingered on the disintegrator technology. This is a true artifact. In the game Stellaris, the disintegrator is a top-tier weapon that can only be researched in the mid to late game. Its most overpowered trait is its ability to ignore shields and ignore armor. Standard energy and kinetic weapons must first break through shields, then penetrate armor, and only then damage the hull, but the disintegrator is different. Its high-energy beams can directly destroy molecular bonds, effectively obliterating the target at a microscopic level. Shields? Useless. Armor? Useless. Once hit by a disintegrator, the hull will begin to disintegrate directly from the inside. As long as this technology is rolled, you are essentially invincible in the early game, and it can be used from frigates all the way up to mass-produced cruisers. And that ion cannon turret is not a tech that can be rolled in the early game either. Exchange for disintegrator technology, ion cannon turret blueprint, and the 30% research speed boost. Beihai did not hesitate. The value of this research speed is unimaginable, and at the current rate, if the Calamity Store continues to upgrade, it will add even more. Ding! Exchange successful. Consumed 3,000 deterrence points, remaining 3,200 points. Immediately after, he opened the Tier 1 Calamity Store, racial genetic template for only 250 points. This price is well within reach. Now that the Human Federation systems are compatible, it is time to initiate the Genetic Ascension project. This universal genetic template, ding! Exchange successful. Consumed 250 deterrence points, remaining 2,950 points. Racial genetic template has been issued. The Human Federation has unlocked the Genetic Ascension path. As for the other armor and shield technologies, Beihai did not buy them for the time being. In the early stages, offense is the best defense. Just mass-producing troops is enough. Besides, these technologies will eventually go on sale, so there is no need to rush. It is better to save some deterrence points just in case. In the event of any unforeseen circumstances, he will have an emergency reserve. The Human Federation entered a period of frenzied construction. The construction of the first starbase officially began, with priority given to building ion cannon turrets. With the starbase, the Human Federation can establish a firm footing in the star system. At the same time, the research team began studying the disintegrator technology. The complexity of this technology far exceeded any previous weapon. But thanks to the 30% research speed bonus and the technical data provided by the system, the development progress far exceeded expectations. Blueprints for a new batch of frigates were also being modified, and all newly built frigates would be equipped with the disintegrator weapon system. Of course, all of this requires massive resources. Alloys, energy credits, rare ores, each one is an astronomical figure. Fortunately, Mining Star 1 is continuously providing rare ores with high-purity characteristics, coupled with what Beihai can purchase using deterrence points. The Human Federation capital. Chief Scientist Shen Yu walked briskly into Beihai's office. She was a young and beautiful girl. Looking no older than her early 20s, she was a genius within the first middle school, and in the war a year ago, she demonstrated astonishing scientific research capabilities. After the war, she was exceptionally promoted to Chief Scientist, leading and coordinating all scientific research projects of the Human Federation. Clearly, this was the result of the system store's influence. Leader, Shen Yu saluted, and then respectfully handed over a report. There has been a breakthrough in the research of the rare minerals from Mining Star 1. We have successfully applied this ore, which possesses restorative properties, to ship armor. We call it regenerative armor technology. As long as the damage isn't critical, the ship's armor can automatically recover. This means that our frigates, even if damaged in combat, can regain fighting capability in a short time, and maintenance costs will be drastically reduced. The fleet's sustained combat capability will see a qualitative leap, Shen Yu said excitedly. Well done. Beihai nodded with satisfaction. Leader, there is one more thing. While communicating with the research team, I discovered a problem. She hesitated slightly, but reported truthfully. Recently, the incident at Mining Star 1 has left many humans feeling insecure about their own strength. Especially some members of the research team. After seeing the physical prowess of the mining planet's creatures, they began to doubt humanity's evolutionary potential. Perhaps in the future, even stronger races will emerge. Although the Human Federation is developing rapidly in technology, in terms of physical fitness, pure-blooded humans indeed hold no advantage. The victory in the war a year ago was due more to unity, probability, and Beihai's extraordinary efforts, but most people do not possess such strength. If we truly encounter a situation requiring hand-to-hand combat, you are very sharp. In fact, I am just about to implement a plan. Why not take a step forward in biological evolution and achieve transcendence? Natural evolution has always only been described by one simple and brutal word, failure. Countless species have gone extinct during long-term evolution, with only a very few surviving by luck, and even those who survived are full of defects. Even aging and death are products of the failure of natural evolution. Today, we will personally define success. It is time to break the genetic locks within us. Gu Beihai said solemnly. Genetic locks? You mean genetic modification? Leader, will this make us humans become those strange races? Shun Yu widened her eyes, her voice trembling slightly. Her concern was not unreasonable. As chief scientist, she knew better than anyone the risks of genetic modification. A moment of carelessness could lead to genetic collapse, or even turning into an entirely different species. There were too many such examples in history, as was the case with inferior civilizations of the past. Through hybridization and genetic modification, they became grotesque and misshapen races. Gu Beihai saw her worry and shook his head with a smile. Rest assured, we will not hybridize any alien genes. That is an insurmountable red line. The genetic evolution I speak of is to follow the path of the purest genetic ascension based on pure-blooded humans. Gu Beihai's attitude was firm. Only then did Shun Yu breathe a sigh of relief, and light rekindled in her eyes. I understand. Leader, please be assured. Entrust this task to me, and I will definitely develop the purest genetic evolution scheme. Her voice was filled with determination. As chief scientist, being able to participate in such a project that would change human history was her greatest honor. Very good. Gu Beihai nodded in satisfaction. She did not need to participate in the design, because these design blueprints would be reasonably provided to these geniuses. This conversation was broadcast live throughout the Blue Star, instantly sparking heated discussions. The live streams of the Sakura country, the Kimchi country, the India country, the Lighthouse country, etc., erupted almost simultaneously. Laughable, Gu Beihai is dreaming again. Genetic evolution based on pure-blooded humans. Not hybridizing alien genes? Does he think genetic evolution is child's play? Without hybridizing alien genes, how could one possibly obtain powerful abilities? Human genes are inherently trash. If we don't fuse the excellent genes of other races, we can't evolve a damn thing. Our Sakura country's grade A contestant, fused with the one-eyed warrior, is practically an immortal deity. Just wait and watch the joke. The genetic evolution of pure-blooded humans. I'd like to see what kind of tricks she can pull off. Chapter 12. After today, we shall take control of our evolution. Located in Waldenburg, the capital of the Human Federation, Shin Yu knocked on the door of Gu Beihai's office. Leader, there is something regarding genetic evolution that I would like to discuss with you privately. Gu Beihai, according to my observations, the power you displayed during the war a year ago was far beyond that of an ordinary person. Furthermore, you were still holding back. To accelerate the progress of genetic evolution, I venture to request. I believe that if we could extract relevant information from your genes, perhaps we could find a way to break the shackles of human genetics. Shin Yu asked nervously. After all, this involved the leader's secrets. You are correct. Before becoming the leader of the Human Federation, I had already broken my own genetic shackles, but that was achieved purely by instinct. So, the experience cannot be replicated. However, you may extract samples for research. I hope the genetic serum you develop will allow me to continue breaking through to higher levels. Gu Beihai did not hide anything, and Shin Yu's eyes lit up instantly. Really, leader? This is of vital importance. If we can decipher the secrets within your genes, we might be able to accelerate the path of genetic evolution for all mankind. Blue Star did not broadcast this conversation regarding genetic technology, as these matters involved the privacy of the contestants. Over the next period, Shin Yu led a research team to conduct an in-depth analysis of Gu Beihai's genetic samples. To their amazement, they discovered that in Gu Beihai's genetic sequence, there were some extremely unique markers. These markers were like keys, unlocking the potential within human genes, activating latent power buried deep inside without the need to hybridize any alien genes. It was entirely the evolution of humans themselves. To ensure safety, the research team successively conducted tens of thousands of small-scale tests. After injecting the genetic serum, the volunteers all displayed significant improvements in physical fitness. Though not reaching the tenfold increase of Gu Beihai, they generally improved to 5 to 8 times their original levels. Those who were already physically strong even reached tenfold with no side effects or signs of mutation. Everything was perfect. This first generation of genetic serum would also continue to trigger Gu Beihai's potential. We are preparing for a global broadcast. I will inject it in front of everyone. You must do the same. We must lead by example. Then, we will officially establish genetic clinics globally to popularize it for the entire population, Gu Beihai said. Understood. Xunyu replied excitedly. She could finally demonstrate this great technology to all of humanity. One day later, at the Central Plaza of the Human Federation, millions of citizens of the Human Federation gathered there while all participants and spectators of the National Destiny game from across Blue Star would witness this moment via live broadcast. Beihai stood on the podium, with Xunyu beside him wearing a white lab coat, holding a syringe that emitted a blue glow. Compatriots, this will be a great day in human history, because from this moment on, we shall officially take control of evolution and define success for ourselves. Not long ago, we launched the Genetic Evolution Project, and today we will prove to the world that pure-blooded humans do not need the pollution of any heretical genes. This is true evolution. As the leader of the Human Federation, I need to prove that this is safe. I, Beihai, will be the first person to inject this genetic serum. You will witness it all with your own eyes. Beihai declared to the world, and the Human Federation erupted in cheers. They trusted their leader above all else. Xunyu took a deep breath, stepping to his side. Her hand gently raised the glowing blue syringe, aiming it at Beihai's arm. The scene went completely silent. Everyone held their breath. The syringe was pressed down slowly, and the blue liquid was injected into Beihai's body. At that moment, changes began to occur within Beihai. It was the genetic chains rearranging, potential being triggered. In just a few seconds, Beihai opened his eyes. He rotated his shoulders, feeling the surging power within his body. According to Xunyu's description, this power would not erupt all at once, but would be continuously triggered during future battles, ultimately reaching perfection. It would be continuously triggered during every battle until the final, perfect victory. The genome within his body is 10 times what it was before for Beihai, and now, superimposed with the effects of the new genetic serum, his strength has increased at least 20-fold. However, this dose of genetic serum he injected was custom-made. Others could not withstand it, but the essence is the same. It is merely a matter of dosage. Very well, there are no adverse sensations. Beihai looks at Xunyu. She nods, and only then does Xunyu exhale a long breath, tears shimmering in her eyes. Now it is my turn. She takes the syringe and points it toward her own arm. Under the gaze of everyone, Xunyu also injects the genetic serum, and her body begins to change as well. Although not as violently as Beihai's, one can still see that her strength is soaring. The female physique is delicate, but that does not mean their potential is any less than a male's. It is simply expressed in a different form. And Beihai's live stream room is flooded with countless viewers. Damn! It's being broadcast globally. Did she really manage to research it? How is that possible? Look, they injected a bit, and there are no outward signs. Maybe it's just for show again. I reckon it only gave a slight boost, and they're just saying it needs battle after battle to stimulate it. Who can't stimulate it? Besides, Beihai's physical fitness was already great to begin with. Her experiment has no reference value. Then let me ask you, why is Beihai so strong? Doesn't this prove it? Maybe it's a hidden lord talent. It's not like that hasn't happened before. That's a point. The ROK, Japan, the US, India, and other nations are all stubbornly denying it, because if Beihai's theory is proven correct, then wouldn't they, after all these years of choosing alien genes, including having received corresponding national destiny rewards, all have become clowns? I know, but just looking at it like this doesn't prove anything. We haven't experienced any mutation, nor shown any special performance. So, the moment of verification follows. This first generation of genetic serum is not something that grants full power immediately upon injection. It requires constant stimulation through battle, eventually breaking the genetic locks within the body perfectly. Therefore, today's training arena is also a dueling ring. Within the research team, different voices have emerged. Of course, as long as it does not violate the human constitution, I support this kind of blooming of 100 schools of thought. Therefore, I also fully support Science Officer Xiaoye's logic. He will pilot the latest generation mech of his own development onto the stage to fight our chief scientist, Xunyu. And Xunyu will fight the mech unarmed, without any weapons or armor. Be expectant. Witness it, my fellow humans. This will be a battle etched into human history. Beihai's voice fades, and the cheering is endless. On the ring, all eyes are upon them. Chapter 13. Pure-blooded humans test mechs for the first time. Alien trait competitors are devastated. Making Xunyu fight a mech barehanded? Isn't this a joke? How could a human possibly beat a mech? This is clearly a show. The materials for this mech must be very mediocre. So what if Xunyu wins? It would only prove the mech is trash and wouldn't prove anything else. Countries across the Blue Star keep questioning, but they can only question, or else admit they are clowns. Star event, Human Federation Central Plaza. At one end of the stage, a massive figure rises slowly. It is a 5-meter-tall mech, constructed entirely of regenerative alloy, shimmering with a silver-gray light. The designer of this mech is Xie, the deputy director of the Human Federation's Scientific Research Department. He has different views on the genetic evolution project. His stance is quite straightforward. I believe in human potential, but mechs are the coolest. The mech's shoulders are loaded with kinetic cannons. One hand grips a giant machete made of special alloy, and the other hand is a pitch-black gun barrel. Before the fight begins, Beihai stands at the edge of the stage, continuing to announce to the global broadcast, "To prove the authenticity of this mech, I have specially prepared a verification segment." In the distant sky, a transport ship tore through the void, and its hatch swung open. A stone giant was dropped onto the arena, its body riddled with cracks, and a furious glow flickered within its eye sockets. Captured alive from mining planet number 1, it was used specifically for comparative testing, with its hands and feet unbound. It immediately charged toward Beihai, but Xie's mech had already positioned itself in protection, and with a clean motion, she raised her great blade and brought it down. In an instant, the stone giant's body was neatly severed into countless pieces. It exploded in mid-air, with debris scattering everywhere. Even with its rapid regeneration ability, after being so thoroughly dismembered, it could never reassemble itself, and gravel lay scattered across the ground. The Blue Star livestream chat instantly erupted, and the audience from the Dragon Kingdom flooded the screen with messages. "Damn, that swing was cool. Where are the clowns who said there was something wrong with the mech?" The representatives from the ROK sat silently, teeth clenched, while Beihai announced that the test had officially begun. "Are you ready, Xinyu? After your potential is stimulated, I will attack with full force to ensure the authenticity of this test." Xie's voice rang out from inside the mech. "Bring it on!" Xinyu was actually quite nervous, as she hadn't been informed about this mech combat segment, and she knew full well of Xie's capabilities. The mech designed by her was certainly no weakling. Xie turned the mech toward Xinyu and launched it instantly. The massive 5-meter-tall body rushed toward Xinyu at startling speed, the great blade sweeping horizontally. Xunyu's pupils contracted, and her body instinctively leaped backward. Humph! The blade struck the arena, blasting out a deep fissure. So fast! Xinyu was shocked, but she had no time to think as the mech's second strike descended. She dodged continuously, moving faster and faster, as the genetic serum in her body began to take effect, her dormant potential being awakened little by little. Bang! 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 Xie's mech attacked relentlessly, each strike landing with astonishing power, but Xunyu's speed only increased, her figure flickering like a ghost. This speed, Xie's brows furrowed as she decisively switched weapons. The muzzle on the mech's right arm lit up, and a dense volley of kinetic bullets poured out. However, Xinyu knew she couldn't outrun the bullets. She had anticipated the move the moment Xie lifted her arm, dodging preemptively, and not a single bullet hit her. How is this possible? Xie's eyes widened. This speed had surpassed the mech's targeting system. At this moment, Xunyu felt a surge of power within the genetic lock. Breaking apart bit by bit, she accelerated violently, and in the split second before the mech could react, she slammed a punch into the mech's leg. Boom! The massive mech was actually forced back several meters by the punch, and the metal surface of the leg showed a clear dent. This power! Xie was stunned. She immediately adjusted her stance as the kinetic cannons on the mech's shoulders opened fire simultaneously. Boom! Boom! The shells whistled through the air. This model of mech was not yet iterated enough to be as agile as a human. Xinyu anticipated it again, dodged to the side, closed the distance, and maneuvered behind the mech. Unleashing her full tenfold strength, Xinyu struck the mech with punch after punch. Boom! The armor made of regenerative alloy, under the terrifying force of her fists, continually dented, twisted, and shattered. Xie desperately tried to maneuver the mech to counter, but she couldn't keep up with Xunyu's speed while turning. Xunyu remained behind the massive mech. At that moment, Xie felt a pang of regret for designing the mech so large. If it were reduced to 3 meters, perhaps she wouldn't be in such a passive position. Another punch. Boom! The mech's right leg was completely pulverized, and the entire machine crashed to the ground. Xunyu stood beside the fallen mech, panting, steam rising from her body, but her eyes were brilliantly bright as her genetic lock was perfectly shattered. There was a deathly silence. The entire square was hushed, and everyone stared at this scene, their minds blank. Then a thunderous surging cheer erupted. The 2 billion citizens of the Human Federation were absolutely electrified at that moment. They witnessed a miracle, witnessing pure-blooded humans crushing mechs with their bare hands. Live streams across Blue Star countries completely exploded, with audiences from the Dragon Kingdom flooding the screens. Holy crap, holy crap, holy crap, what the hell am I seeing? Humans, with their bare hands, crushed a mech, and this is only the first generation of genetic serum. What about the second generation? I dare not even imagine. Beihai is a legend. The Human Federation is the best. Where are those who called humans weak? Come out and bark now. Impossible. How could humans possibly defeat a mech like this with bare hands? Xinyu definitely didn't use her bare hands. She must have used some unseen trick. That's right, cheating is just too easy for them. This must be special effects. The Dragon Kingdom is definitely faking it. Humph. In the eyes of our Sakura Kingdom, such mechs are just trash anyway, and this doesn't represent the peak of humanity. It just means the stone men are weak. If you have the guts, come try it in the territory of our Cyclops. We would corrode any mech you have. They desperately tried to justify themselves, desperately trying to deny all of this. Because once they admitted it, it would mean that their persistence over all these years was nothing but a joke. On the arena, Xie crawled out of the mech, her face full of frustration. Her mech had been destroyed, and it was destroyed by bare hands. As the designer, this was a massive blow to her. Just then, a flash of confusion crossed her eyes. You've done well enough, don't be discouraged. Genetic evolution is not our only path. Mechs and genetic evolution have never been opposing, they should be complementary. When you designed the mechs, you must have considered human endurance and made many compromises. But think about it, what if soldiers injected with the genetic serum piloted mechs that were even more compatible? What kind of combat power would that be? Beihai's words made Xie's eyes light up. Leader, I understand. I will continue to improve the mechs. The new generation of mechs will be tailor-made for genetically enhanced soldiers. Xie had found her direction once again, firmly believing that mechs were the coolest, and Beihai once again announced to the entire Human Federation. Effective immediately, gene clinics will be built across the board. Everyone can achieve perfect evolution. The evolution of humanity will be firmly kept in our own hands. And this is just the first generation of genetic serum. One day we will ascend to divinity. Chapter 14. The Empire Pirates discovered Beihai, who was reviewing the troops at the stellar base. Since the birth of the first generation of genetic serum, the Human Federation seemed to have gone silent. In Beihai's live stream, there hadn't been any catching footage. Occasionally, there were scenes of daily scientific meetings or engineering construction, but you couldn't hear specifically what was being said. No wars, no conflicts, no conquests. It was as flat as stagnant water. Most of the daily life was censored, and the popularity of the live stream began to plummet off a cliff, from billions of viewers at the start to tens of millions later, and now down to a few million. Most viewers lost their patience and turned to watch other contestants with more spectacle. Viewers from the ROK couldn't help but jump out and jeer. I knew it! Beihai's development has stalled. As expected of a C-tier civilization, the previous development